Welcome back to War Archive, your gateway to the untold stories of history's greatest battles and the mysterious folk tales that time almost forgot. From the clash of empires to whispers of legends, we uncover it all, one story at a time. So, gear up, history buffs and thrill seekers. Your journey into the past starts right now. Like, share and subscribe and enter a world of war, mystery, and timeless. The most dangerous mission of World War II, Operation Valkyrie explained. A whisper in the ashes. War does not begin with an explosion. It begins with a whisper that grows into a storm powerful enough to swallow nations whole. By 1944, Europe was drowning in fire. Cities collapsed beneath bombs, fields burned, and millions had vanished into the machinery of war. Yet, in the heart of the German Reich, among officers sworn by oath to their Führer, a different fire burned. The fire of doubt, of fear, and finally, of defiance. This is the story of Operation Valkyrie, not just a plot to kill Adolf Hitler, but a desperate gamble by men who once followed him. A mission so perilous, so fragile, that one misstep would mean the execution of entire families. And at the center of this storm stands Colonel Klaus von Stauffenberg, soldier, patriot, amputee, idealist, the man who dared to challenge the darkest empire the world had ever known. The Forge of Darkness. Germany's rise had been swift, brutal, and intoxicating. Those who later conspired against Hitler had once marched proudly under his banners, believing they were restoring honor to a broken nation. But what they found instead was tyranny masked as glory. By the time the Allies stormed Normandy and Soviet armies pressed from the east, many inside the German high command realized the truth. Hitler had doomed them all. Colonel Stauffenberg, wounded severely in Tunisia, losing his right hand, 2 fingers on his left, and his left eye, returned home to find Germany spiraling into madness. Cities scorched, soldiers sacrificed in unwinnable battles, civilians left starving. He looked into the abyss and made a choice that would define him. Germany must be saved from Hitler. The Secret Circle. The men who gathered in dimly lit safe houses and abandoned offices were not revolutionaries. They were generals, diplomats, aristocrats, men raised to obey orders, now learning to defy them. Beck, Olbricht, Tresckow, Gordeler, and eventually, Stauffenberg. Their plan was bold. Use Operation Valkyrie, an existing emergency protocol meant to defend the Reich if there was internal unrest, and twist it into a blueprint for a coup. But for Valkyrie to work, one thing had to happen first. Hitler had to die. They needed someone close enough to plant the bomb, disciplined enough to seem loyal, and brave enough to accept certain death. There was only one choice. The weight of a bomb. The wooden table was rough beneath Stauffenberg's remaining fingers. He slid the British-made explosive into the briefcase, feeling its cold metal body, a silent heart waiting to beat. He rehearsed the plan hundreds of times. Enter the conference room. Place the briefcase close to Hitler. Arm the device. Leave with a plausible excuse. Let the explosion tear open the future. But war is not shaped by plans, only by the men who carry them. Stauffenberg knew he was sacrificing not just his life, but potentially the lives of his wife, his 4 children, and everyone he had ever known. Still, he pressed forward. Because some missions must be attempted, even when success is a ghost. The day of the Wolf's Lair. The 20th of July, 1944. The air at the Wolfschanze, the Wolf's Lair, hung heavy with heat and paranoia. Guards eyed every movement. Officers whispered. Hitler paced, irritable and distracted. Stauffenberg entered the briefing hut, his briefcase weighted with destiny. With careful, practiced motion, he set the bomb beside Hitler, too close, and the plot would succeed, too far, and history would never forgive him. His heart hammered like distant artillery. He excused himself, slipping away as his adjutant finished arming the device. Minutes stretched. Shadows shifted. And then, a roar tore the air apart. The hut exploded in splinters and dust. Stauffenberg didn't look back. He was already racing toward Berlin, convinced, desperately, fatally, that Hitler was dead. When empires refuse to die. But history is cruel. A thick wooden table leg had shielded Hitler from the full blast. He survived with burst eardrums and a torn uniform, humiliated, enraged, but alive. The coup, already fragile, began to crumble. In Berlin, confusion devoured the conspirators. Some acted, others froze. Communications were delayed, orders contradicted. As news spread that Hitler was alive, loyalty snapped back into place like steel shackles. Valkyrie, the plan meant to save Germany, collapsed under the weight of disbelief. And the men who dared to dream of freedom suddenly found themselves hunted. The last stand. Stauffenberg arrived at the Bendler block, the headquarters of the conspiracy, limping, sweating, exhausted, but alive with hope. He believed the mission had succeeded. He believed the coup could still hold. But when the truth finally reached him, he understood. They were already dead. Gunfire cracked in the courtyard as SS forces stormed the building. Arrests were swift and merciless. Yet even in the face of failure, Stauffenberg stood tall, a soldier to his final breath. As the night deepened, he was dragged into the courtyard with Ulbricht, Heften, and others. There was no trial, no defense, just the last whisper of a man who defied a monster. Long live sacred Germany. Shots rang out, and silence fell on the men who tried to change the course of history. The echo of broken oaths. In the days that followed, Hitler unleashed a fury unmatched in the war. Thousands were arrested, hundreds executed, families destroyed. Germany, already dying, now fell into an even deeper nightmare, one fueled by paranoia, revenge, and the crushing certainty that the war was lost. Yet the conspirators did not vanish. Their courage refused to fade. For in the ruins of Berlin, beneath the ashes of Europe, their story remained, a reminder that even in the darkest of nights, there are those willing to strike a match against the void, a flame against the darkness. Operation Valkyrie was more than a failed assassination attempt. It was a message that even inside the iron heart of tyranny, there were still men who could see right from wrong. Men willing to give everything, their ranks, their honor, their families, their lives, for a chance, however small, to stop the storm. Their mission did not end the war. Their bomb did not kill Hitler. Their coup did not succeed. But their defiance, their courage, their sacrifice, these echo far beyond the blast of July 20th, 1944. Because in every age, in every war, humanity remembers not only the victors, but the ones who dared to stand against the impossible. This was Operation Valkyrie, the most dangerous mission of World War II. And its flame, though born in the darkest of times, still burns.